So hello, pioneers, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Catherine Glore, Senior Director of Annual Giving at Marietta College, and I'm excited to talk to you today about the opportunities and the programs that you love the most here on our campus. Our 6th annual Day of Giving is quickly approaching, and since we're doing something a little different this year, I wanted to take the opportunity to chat with some of our pioneer leaders about what that entails. So from noon on Monday, February 14th through 1835, that's 6:35 p.m. Eastern, on Tuesday, February 15th, we will be celebrating the love that we all have for MC. Our Day of Giving is our biggest fundraising event of the year. In fact, last year we had more than 1,300 pioneers join us by making a gift, and we had to set a new record with 1,325 donors showing their love this year. Now, of course, we each have our own reasons for giving back. And as I mentioned, we're doing something new this year that will make it even easier to support the things you love the most about MC. I'd like to invite Nancy Kaplan McCann, class of 1976 and chair of the Marietta College Alumni Association Development Committee, to share a little bit more about what that is.
Thanks, Kat, and thanks to all the team captains who volunteered to spearhead this effort. We are really excited to help launch this new feature of the Day of Giving that allows alumni to designate their contributions to the tiered campaign or campaigns representing various projects that we're going to hear about today that are really near and dear to their hearts. It's also important to note that contributions can be split between the campaigns, as well as giving credit to your class year or your Greek chapter. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Kat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nancy. And thank you for your leadership in so many ways. The MCAA is obviously a huge part of our Day of Giving. But I'd like to share a little bit more about what those special tiers or projects that we're highlighting are this year. And in fact, I'd like to start first, and perhaps in my opinion, the most important, with the area of greatest need. So unrestricted support allows the college to respond to emerging priorities and respond quickly in unexpected circumstances, like, for example, a global pandemic, and Gifts to the Marietta Fund support all areas of campus. We have a goal of raising at least $85,000 for the area of greatest need this year. But of course, none of that matters if students can't attend Marietta College. So I'd like to invite Jonah Mitchell, Assistant Director of Financial Services here, to share a little bit more about our next project, Student Aid.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. I'm happy to share that. So student aid is obviously a big part of Marietta College. Just for the 2021-2022 school year, we did have 100% of students receive financial aid. So it is something that no matter where someone's coming from, they are looking at the finances and what kind of aid they can get. So there's a couple different ways we can look at it when you're talking about the numbers behind financial aid. So the average total assistance overall to a student is about $41,669 that we offer here. The average need-based aid that a student gets when they come in is around $39,077. Now, when it comes to Marietta aid without anything else, but when you're looking at the scholarships and grants that Marietta offers as a whole, that's where the range comes in. We have it's a range of $23,824 to $35,792 is the range of aid just from MC that we're able to give out through grants and scholarships here. And that does depend on, the parent income and range that they fall into and the EFC we get and everything like that. So either way, any way you break that down, basically, though, you can see that MC is dedicated to making sure students have aid and that we are awarding those students who truly need it, who maybe don't have outside scholarships, who are on the lower EFC, and that they get the aid that the federal government has or that we can offer them here at MC, be it through merit-based aid, grants, or endowed awards. So
thank you so much for that, Jonah.
Yeah.
And yeah, those are big numbers. And honestly, for so many pioneers, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for the financial aid that was provided that brought all of this experience within reach. So if you'd like to support financial aid or student aid this year, we hope that you will select that as one of your Day of Giving priorities. Now, I'd also like to highlight something that's near and dear to many pioneers, our student athletes and the teams that give us really so much to cheer for. The Pioneer Club supports all of our student athletes, all of our teams. And when you make a gift, you not only help ensure that, that our stands are safe for everybody, that our students can continue to compete and travel, but also that we can continue recruiting the next generation of Pioneer athletes here. If you'd like to support all of our teams, you can select Pioneer Club as your designation during our Day of Giving, and we'll all be cheering for you too. Now, something else I'd like to highlight affects not just the students on campus, but really our entire region. So people of all ages get to explore the stars through the events hosted at the Anderson Hancock Planetarium. The planetarium now is about 10 years old. The equipment that we had initially was very, very state-of-the-art, but we know that technology changes quickly. And so we're hoping to upgrade the planetarium with additional gifts. We have a goal of $7,500 during our Day of Giving. And if you'd like to help support students reaching for the stars, choose the Anderson Hancock Planetarium as your gift designation. Now, of course, we're sharing a lot about what happens on campus, but what about after graduation? How can we ensure that today's pioneers are well positioned in their careers once they graduate? And I'd like to invite Dr. Andrew Smith, who is Interim Director of the Career Center, to share a little bit more about that work. Dr. Smith?
Thank you, Kat, and thanks so much for organizing this year's Day of Giving. It is hard to be certain about anything during a pandemic era, but with regards to college graduates in the job market, I think we do know a couple of things pretty certainly. We know that employers have recognized the disruption and are putting a primacy on things like experience, particularly internship experience, over the kinds of factors that typically weighed more heavily, things like GPAs or even majors. We also know that the financial impacts of the pandemic have hit college students at every level, and that's from paying tuition to room, board, housing, food, books, extracurricular activities, and also experiential learning, because there are oftentimes costs associated with accepting the internships that we know employers are really valuing when they make difficult hiring decisions. So last summer, the Career Center was able to pool together a small amount of funds to offset some costs for students who had accepted internships but had financial complications that might have prevented them from taking it. And that was a great first step. But this year, during Day of Giving, we're hoping to raise an even larger pool of funds so that we know that we have a reliable base, so that we can honestly promise every pioneer, if they are accepted, if they offered an internship, they can accept it and know that since they've invested in us, we'll invest in them. We'll make sure that no financial issues inhibit them from accepting that experience that is probably going to be the difference maker when they graduate from Marietta and enter the workforce.
Thank you for that. Yes, that's so important and becoming more so really every year. I'd also like to invite everyone to join Dr. Smith and some pretty impressive students and alumni for a special Day of Giving panel discussion about the world of work. That's happening on Tuesday, February 15th at noon Eastern. And you can register for this free event by visiting marietta.edu/giving. Of course, pioneers are recognized as leaders all around the country and throughout the world. And our Office of Community Engagement is a big part of building those leadership skills as students engage throughout an entire community. I'd like to invite Dr. Amy Elliott to tell us a little bit more about that.
Thank you, Kat. Here at the Office of Community Engagement, we are a connector between the students and the community as classroom. And so we help connect students of all majors to all different kinds of community-based learning experiences to help them gain firsthand those 21st century skills that Dr. Smith was talking about, those employers are really looking for, and also to develop their leadership skills and their communication skills and some of those hands-on things that they can't really find otherwise. So again, community is classroom. And it takes money to do so as far as materials when we need to do service projects. Sometimes it's as simple as pizzas for reflections because all good service learning and all good experiential education has a reflection component. And finally, we need to keep good records of that. And so we need software that tracks all the different kinds of experiences that our students have, and we're able to reflect those data and impact so that we can express that to future employers, to donors, to the campus and to the world. So
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Elliott. And yes, we do also have an impressive panel of our leadership students who are going to be joining us for an event that is on Tuesday, February 15th at 3 p.m. So if you'd like to hear more about our work in the community, we hope that you'll join us. And again, you can register at marietta.edu/Day of Giving. So another part of campus that is near and dear to many of us is our WCMO Studios. But honestly, we could use some help bringing them into the 21st century. So I'd like to invite Professor Marilyn Mara to share a little bit more about that.
Well, thank you, Kat. Our students have really been coping well, and they've been working hard, but what hasn't fared so well is the WCMO TV equipment. And we hope you can join us and make a difference in the studio by supporting the Go WCMO campaign. And we really do need the support. Last semester in the WCMO TV control room, we had a video router in the back die. It's been there longer than I have been at Marietta College, and I came in 1998. And our audio board is on its way out, and you just cannot find replacement parts for these older pieces of equipment. And we unfortunately don't have the budget to replace these items, but we can raise the funds through the Day of Giving. Fortunately, we have a generous donor, Renee Bailey Gallagher, and she's agreed to kick off our Go WCMO campaign by matching gifts, your gift, large or small, to WCMO dollar for dollar, up to $5,000 on the Day of Giving. And what's even better, this money is being donated in honor of Joyce Pennington, Administrative Assistant Extraordinaire. Many of you remember Joyce, and she's still here, and she's still supporting and encouraging students like she's done for over 40 years. So in addition to keeping all the technical stuff going, this is also an opportunity for us to reimagine what WCMO TV can be. And with everyone's help, we can reach a goal of $10,000 and replace what we talked about, as well as hire a consultant to take a look at our setup, redesign, modernize, come up with a plan for the future. So like all of us, our sets of age too, and they definitely are in need of a sprucing up. So if you're willing to help in this special effort, we invite people to make a gift of any amount to Go WCMO during the Day of Giving. Thanks, Kat.
Thank you so much for that. And yes, don't miss this opportunity to get your donation doubled. And also, I'd like to point out something special too, that often the love we have is for each other, is for individuals. And so you can make your Day of Giving gift as a tribute in honor and memory of somebody that you love on campus. And when you do, we'll not only send a special card to them or their family, but we'll recognize that publicly during our Day of Giving on our website. So thank you for that. But also, speaking of matches, we also have some matches in place for this next special project. It's a brand new initiative that's being launched in conjunction with this year's Day of Giving. And I'd like to invite Dr. Cody Clements to share a little bit more about that initiative.
Thanks, Kat, appreciate it. So I'm going to talk to you today about the LGBTQ+ Emergency Support Fund. And truth be told, the statistics are alarming and they require our help. According to Lesley University's The Cost of Coming Out LGBTQ Youth Homelessness Report, 1 in 4 LGBTQ youth are forced to leave their family homes after coming out to their parents. 68% of LGBTQ youth have faced rejection from their families after coming out. And 50% of all LGBTQ youth receive a negative reaction from their parents when they embrace their true identities. If these numbers are distressing to you like they are to me, please consider donating to our brand new LGBTQ+ emergency support fund that we're going to launch on the Day of Giving to provide our current Marietta College students a safety net. This fund can be used to provide students with emergency grants to assist with non-tuition expenses such as safe shelter, medical expenses, books, car repair, or other necessary needs that they may have. With support from our alumni, this fund will reassure LGBTQ+ students that if they face hardships because of their identity, the alumni of Marietta College will help them. So please let our Marietta LGBTQ+ students know that they're cared for and they're valued. Also, let's let them know that they are seen, they're heard, they're supported, and most of all, let them know that they're loved. So please join me in donating to this fund on the day of giving. Thanks, folks.
Thank you for that, Dr. Clemens. Such an important new initiative. And thank you especially to the Marietta College Alumni Association Board of Directors who has spearheaded that initiative. Of course, there are multiple ways that you can support marginalized or underrepresented students during this campaign. And I'd like to invite Robert Nelson, class of 2021, and Tony Mail, who's our Associate Dean of Students and Director of Diversity and Inclusion, to share a little bit more about our dreams for the Multicultural Center.
Well, thanks for having us, Kat. I'll start out and then I'll let Rob chime in here in a few. So start out with the office. If you're not familiar, the Office Diversity and Inclusion does several things. We're responsible for education, fostering understanding of different cultures, as well as offering support to the various cultures that we have on campus currently. So in saying that, when I arrived here, other institution, the Multicultural Center was a focus point of the institution when it comes to underserved and underrepresented students and employees on campus. So when he came here, and students have told me stories of furniture that were used and given to the Multicultural Center, and some furniture was taken out of dumpsters to put in the Multicultural Center. My first task then, as assistant director of the office, was to get some changes. And I would say graciously, we've made a multitude of changes, such as new ceiling tile, new floor tile, but there's still things we need to accomplish to complete the center. And we did actually hire a consulting group on campus, and the students also agree that there is a need for the Multicultural Center. So we're really excited for the possibility of finally completing the Multicultural Center renovation and allowing students to come in and utilize the space. So in saying that, I'll let Rob talk about the present importance and the future importance of the center.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. So obviously the impact this project will have on the campus community will be huge. We envision the space being a unique location where culture is discussed and celebrated. We also envision the space being a safe space to meet and have those difficult conversations. Students, employees, and even alumni will be able to share ideas and spark change, develop their identities, and discuss social justice. We know the potential for the Multicultural Center is endless, and so we're looking forward to this day. Thank you again for having us, Kat, and we're looking forward to sharing with you all more on our project in the future. Yeah.
Yes, thank you both for sharing. We have a big goal for the Multicultural Center. There's still about $50,000 we need to raise to complete those renovations. And of course, it's so important to have those safe spaces on campus, but also to have spaces where we find our community, where we expand our horizons. And so finally, I'd also like to introduce a project that's going to help create the next generation of pioneers and ensure that the young people in our region have the skills that they need to succeed. So Dr. Ryder, could you tell us a little bit more about Stream Camp?
Sure, thanks, Kat. With the wake of the pandemic, it's really impacted us all, but our children are not immune. And the teachers are reporting that they are seeing lots of negative impacts on their academics, as well as their social and emotional growth. And so our department wants to support in this area. So this summer in June, we are offering a 3-week full day camp for incoming kindergarten through 5th grade children. And it is science, technology, reading, engineering, art, and math. So that creates our Stream Camp. And we have our upcoming graduates and our upcoming seniors running or teaching our campers. And we're hoping to have about an 8-to-1 ratio. We would like to provide all of our students with 4 to 5 appropriately leveled books. We'll be looking for funding for materials for arts and science projects and such. And we're really excited for the opportunity. And we're hoping to provide free and reduced camp to those kids who qualify for free and reduced lunch as well for support.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Ryder. Just hearing about all these, my love for Marietta, even though I didn't think it would get bigger, my heart's expanding, hearing about all the wonderful things that we all can accomplish when we come together during our Day of Giving. Again, that starts at noon on February 14th, that's a Monday, and it continues until 18:35, that's 6:35 p.m. on Tuesday, the 15th. There are multiple ways to get involved. And please do visit marietta.edu/day-of-giving right now to learn a little bit more about what's happening. So again, thank you everybody for sharing your passion with us and for the many ways that you share your love all year long. We hope that others are going to be inspired to support one or more of these important projects. But if your love lies somewhere else, you can always direct your gift elsewhere by choosing a designation of other and then indicated what you would like to support when you make your gift on February 14th or 15th. Again, visit marietta.edu/day-of-giving to learn more, and make sure that you check your email for more information about special prizes and events that are coming. Thank you all so much for your time.